Hi, everybody. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. You know what time it is. Okay, before I go into any details, I think we should just address the elephant in the room. Last week's episode, I might hide it a little too high. Um, this is just, obviously the news of MAPPA and the animators were a concern because obviously there was news, outlets, articles who stated, and it's been proven that the episode, excuse me, was only 30% finished. So, I guess like a 9, 8 out of 10. Okay, moving on. What the hell was going on in this episode? Alright, let's get into it. This is episode 18, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Right and Wrong. We start with Yuji. Properly. He's walking through the subway while he's got these voices talking to him. Sukuna, I believe we hear his grandfather, Gojo, a bunch of other people. Of doing the right thing and, blah, blah, blah. And like, oh, you killed these people, blah, blah, blah. I could be wrong here, analyzing the situation. It seems to me like the mangaka of Jujutsu Kaisen has one simple task. He's attempting to make Yuji go through mental freaking torture. And I mean this literally. Grinding his mental state to the point where he succumbs to pure, unadulterated madness. First, we had Sukuna, what he did. And making Yuji see everything that he did. Killing all those people. Now we have what happens here. After the scene of him walking through the subway and everything, hearing everyone talk about him and so on and so forth, we go to my boy, Nanami. Yo, shit, what you guys did in this episode to my boy is criminal. Yo, alright. He was hurt. Fine. And I know people told me about this arc. It's brutal. It's violent. It's... That was fucked up, man. No, not my boy. My boy. You did my boy dirty. So dirty. So dirty. We see Nanami. He's walking through. He's really... The left side of his face has at least, even worse than that, third-degree burns. You can't even see his eye on the left side of his face. It's like... So, personally, what happens to him in this episode, I'm pissed off at, but it's not like I didn't expect it. With the condition of that he's in. So he's walking through, and the entire time, which isn't a good sign, we see him also walking on a beach. And I'm like, the fuck? And he's listing these places, Malaysia and all these other places have a nice beach, near the water. It's relaxing. Whoa, not a good sign. He doesn't see Mahito. You see Mahito chilling in a photo booth, and he goes to the point where he sees these transfigured humans. And he fights. This was brutal. Because they're going... And the thing about that I found so weird was they go back and forth between him fighting and him being on the beach. It gets to a point where, okay. And then we see Yuji gunning down the hallway of the subway station. Eventually, he sees Mahito and Nanami, and Nanami sees the guy from the earlier episodes, and this was back, during the inventory arc, earlier on, when they were in high school. That guy Yu. He says a few words to him. This is obviously, we know what's coming. We know what's coming here. Okay? It's not even a surprise. So, he then he says, Itadori, I leave this to you now. And then Mahito kills him. I'm like, fuck you, Mahito! I hope you get turned into tiny pieces of flesh for doing that. Anyway, this happens. Oh my god. This is like death nail. Yuji screams on top of his lungs of what he is. And they're screaming, and they're starting fighting. The fight, now the animation, I must say, has improved. Last week's animation were, let's not be honest. Let's be honest here. The fight with Sukuna and that Morogoro thing, the 10 shadows, it was subpar. It was 30% complete. This animation for this fight was complete based on what I saw. And it was pretty good. It was interesting. They were getting compressed by flesh. Yuji was... But he has his fight with him. It's very impactful. It's very high intense, high action, back and forth. Eventually, Yuji gets kind of surprised by these two humans here. And one of them gets turned into a transfigure human, punches him, and then the Mahito is going to fight him. Now, Mahito is basically stating that... And this is the thing about Mahito and Sukuna. I'm like, dudes, I'm not trying to... For a person who's an enemy, and a person who's inside of Yuji's body, what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you trying to push him completely over the edge so he can be like Sam Neill in the Mouth of Madness? You're like, ugh. Because we're talking straight up madness. That is what they're trying to do. Push him to the point where he completely breaks mentally and he goes apeshit. At least that's what it seems to me. So he's continuing the fight in this area. And then we cross to another area. Flashback. We find out how Dagon killed those people. He's slurping up these people in this water into his body, eating them. And from there, we have Chuzo, Mahito, and Jogo. Mahito bails and saying it's a competition to find Yuji. And he splits himself into two people. Now, Jogo's pissed off at him, but what I find so weird is this scenario. Juzo, Jogo, and Mahito, all three of them have encountered Yuji. That is what I find so enthralling. Now, mind you, Jogo didn't really encounter Yuji. He encountered Sukuna. He got the bad luck of that draw. But basically, we have that flashback. And then we go to Nobara against Mahito. Seeing as how we saw what Mahito did to Nanami, I don't like where this is going. According to Nobara, she begins to fight with him. And basically, this is what Mahito's going to do. He's going to kill Nobara and drag her corpse to Yuji. Great idea. So that was the episode, basically, in a nutshell. Now, next week's a little confusing. We have scenes in the preview of the fight with Nobara, fight with Yuji. So Nobara against Mahito, and then Mahito against Yuji. But then we have, I think, Chuso. I could be wrong. I could be. But I think this is what's going to happen for next week. Chuso is with Geto. Oh, I should say Geto, that's taken over by that guy who takes over bodies. Yeah. I think he's going to drop the egg on him, on Chuso, to explain to him about Yuji and everything and the like. So next week we're going to get a bombshell. But overall, that's what happened. Overall, the animation has improved. I hope that Mappa gets this thing. Because really, you can't. These animators need time. You know, if you're forcing your animators to work that long of a time, not short of a period of time for each episode, you gotta give them more time and more rest. Come on, Mappa. Come on. But overall, reevaluate last week's episode as far as animation was. Animation was good in this episode. I thought it was very impactful. Very crisp to a certain extent. But you can tell by the look of Yuji, at some point, he's going to fucking snap. He is going to snap, and it's not going to be pretty at all. So, it's just like the body count is continuously rising here. And at some point, you got to realize that it's just so it's so dark, this arc, that for the main character, which is Yuji, you wonder at what point do we all just take a breath and just say, wait a minute, how in God's green earth can he survive both physically and mentally? Because that's what this is now. This is mental torture. But not only mental torture by this guy who he's trying to kill, but Sukuna. Which, listen, he's the king of curses. It's being to be expected. And even when he said in last week's episode, you know, relish in this. Like, you're basically sending the kid to his mental collapse is what you're doing here. But I definitely I'm looking forward to the next couple of 5 episodes we're going to get for this series. Listen, if I am going to say it right now, if the only people from the school to survive is Megumi, Yuji, Maki, and the rest, and it does not include some other people like Nobara, holy shit. They're basically killing off. This is a lot of killing. So, this is Bakai 22. Trying to gather myself like Yuji to try to, you know, not flip out and say you killed one of my favorite characters. Hey, Mom. You killed me, man. You killed my boy. Oh. I'll see you guys later. Oh, by the way, rating 9 out of 10.